So I've been asked many, many times, what is it like to work in a maximum security prison? And aside from talking about it with my friends that I work with, my fellow coworkers, I never really got into really talking about it. I mean, prison is a system that you don't want to be a part of. It's mean, it's nasty, it's ugly. But I figure, you know what? I want to share my stories of what it was like for me working in a maximum security prison. The prison I worked in was Graterford State Penitentiary. It has since closed. It closed in 2018. They built a state-of-the-art institution on the same grounds called SCI Phoenix. So I've never experienced or was in the new prison, SCI Phoenix. However, I was in SCI Graterford. People want to know what it was like to work there. What did I deal with? What was my everyday routine? What was it like when I first stepped through that front gate and that front gate slammed behind me? What were my thoughts? What were my feelings? Was I afraid? Was I nervous? Well, I'll tell you, yeah, sure. You'd be a fool to say you weren't. What was it like to work on A block, B block, C block, D block, E block, the five main housing units? What was it like when you stepped on the housing unit and you're on a housing unit and there's over 500 to close to 600 inmates on it? How did you deal with the personalities? What was it like in feeding time when you had to feed and the block was wide open and there were inmates all over and there was only 5 officers, 1 sergeant and a lieutenant? What was it like working the main kitchen where you got inmates there with weapons in their hands, preparing the meal? What was it like to work on the news side, upper F, G, H, and I, and lower F, G, H, and I block? What was it like to work in the kitchen on the news side? What was it like to work on the main yard? These are the questions people want to know. What was it like to work in the MHU, the mental housing unit? What was it like to work in the THU, the transitional housing unit? What was it like to work in the SNU, the special needs unit? What was it like to work in the infirmary? What was it like to watch an inmate who was on suicide watch? What was it like to work in a dialysis? We had a dialysis unit. What was it like to watch inmates slowly die? What was it like to work around guys doing life? Life is life in the state of Pennsylvania. There is no other way around it. Other states have life, might be 20 years, 30 years, whatever. The state of Pennsylvania, life is life. What was it like to work around murderers? What was it like to work around arsonists? What was it like to work around rapists? What was it like to work around pedo boys? You name it, whatever you see on TV, on news, and the crimes that are committed, these are the guys that were sentenced to the prison system. What was it like to work in the hole, or we called it the RHU, the restricted housing unit? L block. What was it like to work with inmates that were locked in 23 hours out of 24, 7 days a week, 90 days in the hole? What was it like to work J block? J block was the block that had guys that were sentenced to death row inmates. What was it like to work with them? What was it like when the governor signed their warrant for execution and they had to be moved to a different cell and they were on 24/7 watch? What was feeding like down there on L block, J block? What was it like to work in the towers? There was a 30-foot wall that went around the whole institution, 9 towers each. What was it like to work in there? What was it like to work in the visiting room? What was it like to pat down the inmates? What was it like during mass movement when you had hundreds and hundreds of inmates out in the main corridor? What was it like to strip search inmates? What was it like to toss a cell or search a cell? What was it like to work in the chapel? We had a chapel. What was it like to work in the mosque? We had a mosque there. What was it like to work in the activities area where they had the gym? These are just some of the questions people have always asked me. What is it like? What is it like? And you know what? I can only share my experience and my stories. What was it like when I transferred into the maintenance department? What was it like when I took inmates out into the public? What was it like when I had hospital duty? When I had to transport inmates to the hospital for surgeries? What was it like when I was in a surgery room with an inmate being operated on? What was it like to have hospital duty? There's so many different things that people have asked me, and I pretty much worked most of the posts there. But these are my stories. People want to know. Here's another thing. Cameras and videotaping and cell phones are not allowed inside the institution. So there's not much out there when it comes to actual videos or actual photos of the institution, inside and outside. However, I did manage to find some. That's how it is. That is one of the laws and one of the rules at SCI Graterford. So it was very hard trying to find actual footage, and every single footage and every single video clip you're going to see is from the institution itself. Like I said, I'm starting this series. I know it's not going to be for everybody. Maybe I'll put it out maybe once a week. I will still continue to put out videos here in Angeles City. But like I said, people want to know. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your questions are. So we're going to cover this. Like I said, I want to tell my stories. I want to tell how it was for me working in SCI Graterford, inside what they called the fort. So with that being said, I put together a little clip, and stay tuned because I will put out more of my story of what it's like to work in a maximum security prison in the state of Pennsylvania.